New this morning, more violence in downtown Portland after a controversial verdict. The Multnomah County Sheriff's Office declared a riot outside the Justice Center. Just before 9 o'clock last night, a small group of protesters gathered to show their disapproval of the verdict in the Kyle Rittenhouse case. The Sheriff's Office tells us they declared the riot after protesters tampered with the Justice Center's security gate. The crowd did eventually break up, but they left behind broken windows and other damage. Well, this demonstration was just one of many across the country after a jury found Kyle Rittenhouse not guilty in the killing of 2 people during protests in Wisconsin last year. His attorneys argued he shot in self-defense. The verdict has renewed calls for changes to our justice system. Alma McCarty has reaction from local leaders.
As to the fifth
in Kenosha, Wisconsin, Friday afternoon, 4 days of jury deliberations came to an end. Kyle Rittenhouse acquitted on all counts.
He wishes none of this would have ever happened, but as he said when he testified, he did not start this. And we're thankful in more ways than one.
Those on the steps of the courthouse outside expressed differing opinions.
People have a right to carry, to defend themselves.
There's no way that you can justify in the streets of America that an individual can carry an automatic weapon, an AR-15, and shoot and kill anybody under any reason.
In Oregon, Governor Kate Brown stated in part, "We have a lot of work to do as a country in building a more just and equitable future." In Portland, Commissioner Joanne Hardesty wrote, "We have an injustice system in America." Mayor Wheeler called the trial verdict profoundly disappointing and stated, "Our work to reform and improve the criminal justice system must continue."
As a member of the Oregon Legislative BIPOC Caucus, I think, we all really feel like today has been truly heartbreaking.
State Representative Andrea Valderrama spoke with me one-on-one Friday evening.
We really feel like acquitting Kyle Rittenhouse of all charges demonstrates this pattern of injustice and harm that has especially been perpetuated within our criminal legal system for our Black and Brown communities. I do think that we need to really look at more closely this culture of mass firearm ownership and militia mentality, and really figure out some of these social institutions that need to be re-envisioned so that we can really have true public and community safety for all people.
An organizer and activist herself, she wants to encourage people not to lose hope.
Even in these moments of darkness, that peace is possible, right? That real justice is on the horizon.
Alma McCarty reporting. Well, Friday, Portland's police chief addressed gun violence in the city and the additional funding coming to the Bureau to hire more officers. Chief Chuck Lavelle says he wants to start hiring as soon as possible, but he said it will take time. The Bureau actually laid off its recruitment manager and others directly involved in the hiring process a long time ago when the money just wasn't there. Now the chief says he's working to build back what he calls the hiring machine. All of this comes at a very violent time in the Rose City. So far this year, there have been more than 1,100 shootings, 57 of them deadly.
Their cases are important to us. The tragedy of losing a loved one to gun violence or in any other means is just devastating to a family.
Now, the chief hopes to have a new focused intervention team on the street by early next year, working to prevent shootings. That is on top of the enhanced community safety team already working out on the streets in Portland. Well, this weekend, we're talking solutions to students in crisis around our area. We've recently reported on a number of fights and disruptions in many Oregon schools. They are contributing to staff burnout, worrying parents, and of course, are harmful to students. But what can be done about it? Well, school psychologists say districts need to focus on a basic level of support for all students. That could be as simple as a reward ticket system at an elementary school where kids could turn in tickets for a prize if they've done well. Educators say they want district leaders to be proactive, ask staff for input, and then put ideas into motion.
I can guarantee you that educators, from bus drivers to classroom teachers, have lots of ideas for ways that we can improve what we have going on currently in schools.
Educators say they need more time to prepare and collaborate with each other, as well as classroom aides, to better meet students where they are. But the staffing shortage makes that more difficult. You can watch our in-depth report on students in crisis now on the KGW YouTube channel. You get much more there as well. Well, students and adults were on board a school bus involved in a pretty scary crash out along Highway 6. The bus from the Nestucca School District hit a loose flatbed trailer, which had become detached from the truck that it was being pulled by along the highway. 30 students and 6 adults were on board that bus for a field trip. 6 were taken to the hospital with minor injuries. The driver responsible for the trailer got a ticket because he did not have the correct coupling system to keep that thing attached. Well, turning to the pandemic now, millions more Americans are now eligible for the COVID-19 booster shot thanks to an emergency approval by the CDC and the FDA. Catherine Cook looks at who qualifies for the booster and what type of booster doctors think that you should get.
It's the stamp of approval many have been waiting for. On Friday, the FDA and CDC gave emergency use authorization to Moderna and Pfizer COVID booster shots for adults. That puts all states with varying booster eligibility on the same page.
Yeah, the evidence on boosters is that they dramatically lower your risk of having a breakthrough infection. We know breakthrough infections can happen. Boosters are really quite protective against that.
The Oregon Health Authority announced that booster shot doses should be available this weekend. Anyone 18 and older can get the booster shot to lower risk of a breakthrough case. However, it's highly recommended for those 50 and older. While COVID cases in Oregon are declining, 17 other states have seen case numbers rise by 25% or more in just the last 2 weeks. That's a concern as 53 million Americans prepare to travel for Thanksgiving next week. Health experts suggest those in that group make getting their COVID booster a must, adding there's an increased risk when you gather with family and friends.
If you get the booster now, you can really slow down spread and reduce your own risk of getting infected.
To qualify for a booster, you need to have had your second dose at least 6 months ago. However, if you got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, you only need to wait 2 months to get your booster. As for what brand booster to get, health officials say it's safe to mix and match. It doesn't have to be the same as your original shot series. Catherine Cook, KGW News.
Now, there are no mass vaccination sites set up right now, but many pharmacies and doctors' offices are already giving the boosters. GetVaccinated.oregon.gov is a good first step to finding an appointment, and you can filter results by the specific brand of vaccine that you want to get. Well, state education leaders are considering new testing options that could keep students in class. For kids who are not vaccinated against COVID, state education officials are working on a test to stay program. That would do away with the mandatory 2-week quarantines after possible exposures if students test negative for COVID.
Testing supply will be the factor. We think we have that nearly in place.
Now, the Oregon Department of Education aims to have the test to stay model in place for schools by the end of the month. Well, the city of Vancouver just announced a site to put up small shelters for people who are homeless. Coming up in just a couple minutes, we'll show you where it's going and what has to happen to that space before it can open up.